Wet weather tires, Christopher Bell sweeping the weekend. Drivers peaking while some other drivers are just not having the best of luck.
Three, two, one.
What's up, everyone? Todd Brown, That Racing Show. Thanks for dropping by for this pit stop segment. Man, New Hampshire. Did it bring it this weekend? Was that pretty wild racing out there? We're going to talk about all of the action out there this weekend. As far as, man, Christopher Bell sweeping that weekend, having a great weekend himself. And then some of the other guys that just, man, just not having the best of year. But I want to start out right now with talking about the big story that everybody was talking about yesterday evening or Sunday evening. And this is that wet weather tire getting put in use out there on a speedway of this size. People on social media during that 2 hour wait there for the rain delay, there was a lot of people talking, a lot of people complaining, a lot of people upset, asking questions in so many ways. Why these things are not out there racing in the rain, different things of that nature, which obviously is not going to happen. Even when they got back out there with the wet weather tires, you could still see the spray up on some of the drivers' windshields. So not ideal conditions to be out there in a rainstorm racing, but still, when they did get out there, man, that was pretty damn wild to me. I love seeing them all fanned out like that. Just ironic, crazy conditions for them. And it was really, really cool to see the drivers down there on the apron, trying to get all that grip they could on the bottom. It's, just reminded me of a dirt track race in so many ways because cars were scattered everywhere looking for grip. And the really interesting thing to me about all this is that the dirt car drivers were able to get up there into the front, hold those positions, and race for the lead and just be competitive. Because that's that dirt driving experience that comes in right there. And I loved to see that this weekend. And this other thing here is really cool to me. These guys coming down here, cooling off their tires in the water down at the bottom of the racetrack. Yeah, just interesting to see all the different strategies everybody was doing to cool their tires, the different lines they were running, and so many things with that. And then, again, a lot of people complaining about NASCAR mandating to stay on the wet weather, not giving the teams the option to do what they wanted to do. Obviously, this is the first time this has happened like this on this size track. So I understand why they did that. And I think moving forward, if we have more conditions like this, there'll probably be some changes to this and different things to happen. But yeah, Christopher Bell getting that win, sweep for the weekend. And man, just this guy's in contention. I mean, he is really rising right now. Going to be in contention all the way to the championship race. And right now, it's got to be the favorite to make it there to the championship race. I've said this for a while now. I see four drivers right now that would be there, and that's Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, and I believe William Byron. I would have to say right now, those are the four that I would see being there right now. But a lot of things can change during this rest of the season. But Christopher Bell out there in Xfinity, getting that win there as well. I mean, this guy just having a hell of a weekend out there. But I want to talk about the other guy out there in the Joe Gibbs car this weekend for his first time, Justin Bonsignore. And man, what a great race for him. Great way to come out there and show his skills. Very first race. And obviously, he's a three-time modified champion and got the win earlier that day in a modified race. So was hyped up, ready to get in that race car and go out there and do something good. And man, he was doing it. Had a really good run, running up there in the top five, battling for second. Unfortunately, getting involved in this little altercation here at the end that led him to a 22 place finish, but still a great run for him. And I think this speaks so much for drivers across the country and the abilities that they have. If they could just get that opportunity to get out there and just let people see what they could do. So I love seeing like this, and I really do hope he gets to get back in a race car for Joe Gibbs Racing. Do some more racing like this. Would love to see him on some different tracks, different size tracks, and just see what he could do. But still, great weekend for Justin. Great run for him. But now I got to talk about the other guy who is the other partner over there in the Xfinity Series this weekend. That's Sheldon Creed. Just did an episode last week on these guys right here. I'm doing it on Sheldon Creed, Hailie Deegan, and Josh Williams about their stats. A follow-up to an episode I did last year. And they pretty much nailed right in there with what I had in my episode. Sheldon getting a second place finish. Great run for him. I mean, a clean driver and battling for the win. You couldn't ask for more than that right there. But getting a second place finish, 10th second place finish that he's had without a win. So definitely a streak that he wants to break and get out there into victory lane. But still, great run for him. Josh Williams coming home with a 23rd place finish. Again, when I looked at those stats, this is pretty right there where it's going. Still hope for him that there'll be a lot of changes this year. But yeah, the finishing position for all these guys fell right in line with that. Hailie Deegan coming home in 32nd, another 30th or worse. This is her 8th 30th or worse finish in 16 races this year. So half the races not going good for her at all. But a lot of racing left to go. So we'll see what happens with all this. Now let's talk about the guys who did not have the best of weekend out there in the Cup Series. And obviously we got to start out with Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is just not off to a good year at all. We've been talking about this in so many different ways. He is tired of being pushed around. He's just tired of having bad luck. And it wasn't any different this weekend. He got into a little incident earlier in the race, but then on those wet weather tires, under caution, spins out. And at that point, he was done. He was ready to go home. Pack this up. Let's get the hell out of here. So just not a good weekend for him. And this is the third DNF in the last 4 races for him. So not stats he wants to have. And this whole team just seems to be, I mean, the whole RCR Cup team just seems to be struggling this year. You know, they work and get the car dialed in at the racetrack, but it just seems like they're not showing up ready to go. And unfortunately, if they are, something usually happens. So just a rough year for that organization. And it's going to be very questionable now to see what happens as we move forward with Kyle Busch. Is he going to be looking at options? Because he's a winner. He wants to win. And he's expecting the team he's with to give him equipment to win. So we'll follow it. We'll see what happens with everything. And Martin Truex Jr., you know, just announcing last week that he's retiring. He's got to be saying, when's it coming? I'm ready. You know, I'm this weekend out there getting tapped with that 6-car Brad Keselowski and Martin going around. But still able to come back and get a 9th place finish for the weekend. So a good rebound for him. Sure, he's happy with that. But this leads me to the announcement that's coming this week, Tuesday. Joe Gibbs Racing putting out that announcement, obviously, of a driver change to replace Martin Truex Jr. And the cool thing, James Small is also going to be there on tap for this. So obviously, James Small is going to continue as crew chief over there. Big question I had whether that would happen or not. But man, who's going to be the driver? I mean, obviously, we all know Chase Briscoe is getting in that car. Interesting slip there with Christopher Bell this weekend. But yeah, Chase going to be getting in that car. Obviously, James Small going to be the crew chief for that. And I'm going to say myself, I hope they make a number change to this car. I just kind of want to see the 19 be set to the side for at least a little while with Martin Truex. I mean, just fitting to me to let that happen and bring the 18 back. Bring the 18 back for Chase Briscoe. Put that on the side of the car. Going to be interesting to see what sponsors stick around too. I kind of see Chase retaining some of them sponsors. He's got them on the side of his sprint car out there. This is the other interesting thing. Joe Gibbs don't like you racing sprint cars. So with Chase Briscoe, family history in sprint cars, grandfather, dad himself. This could be the end of his sprint car career right now with everything that's happening. So be interesting to see how all this plays out as well. But one other driver here that I just want to finish up with had a really good weekend, coming on really, really strong right now. And that's Josh Berry. No doubt these last couple weeks been really, really strong, really in contention. And they need to be right now, because right now is the time to go out there and show what they can do to hit that good ride for next year. Still looks like it's probably going to be a package deal with Rodney Childers and Josh Berry. Would actually love to see that happen. But now they're running really good. Kind of sucks for them that Stuart Haas Racing is going away, and they're just now starting to peak, because no telling what they could do with this organization in the future. But still, sure, they're going to be in victory lane plenty of times, no matter where they go. But either way, what'd you think of that racing this weekend? Did you like them wet tires, wet weather tires? Was it interesting to you? Just what's your thoughts on all this stuff right here? Christopher Bell, championship form. You think he's gonna pull this off all the way through to the end? Either way, man, if you like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button down there. Give this episode a like, and let's talk some racing because, man, that's what I love to do. And interesting topics to talk about right now. Once again, hope you're off to a great day. And as always, we'll see you at the checker flag.